Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite, and we are back with another video, guys. Finally coming back to Nebraska. This is my setup for now. We got a little festivity going on in the background, so appreciate the Christmas spirit. Also, guys, this gameplay is so tragic and so disappointing, but you guys gotta watch. It's a good one. But nonetheless, guys, I want to get right into this topic. A lot of you guys probably saw the drama that went down this weekend with Courage versus Proofy on Twitter. So for those of you that didn't, I'll catch you guys up real quick. Here's a picture of the conversation between Courage and Proof. It got pretty intense, a little personal from Proof as well, and it started up a huge conversation on Twitter about what is going on with what Proof's talking about. So before we get into this, I just want to say that I really do like both these guys. I love Courage, I love Proof. I actually got the chance to talk to Proof a little bit in the open bracket when I was reffing. His team Era showed up at my station right before they played Giants Gaming, who they actually ended up losing to. So like I said, I got a chance to talk to him for a little bit real quick, and he seemed like a really genuine guy. I appreciated the time with him, and he seemed like a really nice, good teammate and a good guy in all of his videos. So I have nothing against Proof, and I definitely like Courage a lot. So this is definitely an interesting conversation for me, where it's kind of pitting two guys against each other that I actually really do like both of them. So as you guys can see, Proof basically off the start said, why do kids go so hard in GBs? Can we just blacklist these kids that go so hard? Jack, aka Courage, did not like what Proof had to say about that, and you guys can see how it goes. Basically, he says this sucks. If you're a GB kid coming up against Proofy in a match, you're gonna want to go hard against a pro player and a guy who's won an X Games medal, and you're gonna want to turn up. It only makes sense, and that this is how these guys actually go pro. It's a step for those guys, and you can't blame them for trying hard. Proof kind of gets pissed, and he basically says GBs are useless. You don't go pro from GBs, you go pro from playing great in tournaments and playing great in LANs, which is partly true, but we'll get into that in a second. And Jack just points out a lot of different things, and Proof kind of just replies with short answers, not really saying anything really important. And then that last tweet is just a personal stab at Jack, which was so unnecessary, man. And I definitely just didn't like that. I don't think that was needed and not necessary from Proof. So at the end of the day, this has sparked a huge conversation about pros complaining about how much playing GBs sucks. In a lot of Proof's statements, he basically felt like, I'm above playing against these amateur GB players. I'm an established professional or whatever, and I deserve to play against actual players, not these amateur tryhards in GBs. If you guys don't know how the current system works, it's a little bit complicated, but I actually described a lot of it in one of my previous videos, The Road to Go Pro, which just came out last week. So guys, check that out if you guys haven't already. But basically how you earn pro points, which really help you get a good seed in the 2K tournaments, which are basically every Sunday, is to play in the pro points ladder on GBs. And the issue is Proof's team, which is named Era, didn't really do a good enough job at the LANs, at the tournaments. They didn't put themselves in a good position to qualify for the season 1 of the CWL. And so now they have to grind these GBs to get 50 pro points a day or whatnot. So they're doing whatever they can to claw their way back into the conversation for season 1. What I really do like about the current system is that the line between amateur and pro is so blurred, where like an amateur team, or a quote-unquote amateur team, can go from the open bracket into the pool play and potentially, in some crazy world, win the event, Personally, I think it really does inspire players to believe that they can make it, that they can go pro, that they can make themselves successful in the Call of Duty world. And I think it's great for growing the competitive Call of Duty scene from the roots, and making it a grassroots type system. When it comes to like Proofy's argument, like I said, he's just kind of annoyed and pissed that they have to grind out GBs against these random kids. And he thinks that he deserves to play against established players consistently, considering, he's a guy who's won the X Games. He was successful in his past, and he's had a lot of success in Call of Duty in the past. So I can understand where he's coming from with this complaint and with these issues. I think it's pretty consensus that all professional players, that established Call of Duty players, don't like playing game battles. But at the end of the day, with how this current system is set up, if you do well at the LANs and do well in the 2Ks, so if you just prove yourself, that you prove that you're a great Call of Duty player, you don't have to play the GBs. Optic right now is not playing game battles. TK is not playing game battles. Faze doesn't need to play game battles because they're in great position already. They're already setting themselves up for the Call of Duty World League. They're setting themselves up for Season 1. They're setting themselves up for good seedings and pool play in NOLA and Atlanta and whatnot. And so they don't necessarily need these GBs because they played great in the 2Ks and at the LANs. At the end of the day, these great players don't really have excuses for why they're playing GBs, because it's really on them for not being a good enough team. Proofy said that playing GBs isn't how you go pro, which, I mean, in theory, it's not, sure. In theory, you have to actually play great at LANs to go pro. But the path to get to pro definitely requires you to play Game Battles Pro Point ladders. Like, you have to. For you to earn the original Pro Points to get better seedings than 2K, so you're not getting stuck up against Optic in the first 2 rounds, is by playing a lot of Pro Points ladders. And so you definitely need to play Pro Points as an amateur player to go pro. So I don't get what he's trying to say there. And then Aches had just a really, I think, stupid comment about LeBron James and comparing pro players to LeBron. So basically what Aches said is that, well, why are we playing amateur players when LeBron doesn't have to go qualify to play in the NBA by playing against high schoolers, is basically what he said. And that's just an absolutely ridiculous, so stupid response. So like for Proofy's case, Proofy was a retired Call of Duty player who now came back, what, like 3 years later? He retired at the end of Ghosts, roughly in that time. So he's coming back like 3 years later to play a game he hasn't played for, you know, like I said, 3 years. So imagine like Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, or like Manny Ramirez tried to come back to Major League Baseball after being retired for, you know, 3 years. They wouldn't start in the major leagues. They would start in the farm systems. They would start in single A, double A, move up to triple A, and then if they prove themselves in the minor leagues, they would then get a spot on a professional roster in Major League Baseball. That's a way better comparison than what LeBron playing against high schoolers is to qualify for the NBA. But like I said, Proof was a retired Call of Duty player. There's a reason why he's not on Optic right now and why he's not on TK, why he's not winning the big tournaments, is because he's still trying to figure out where his place is in these new Call of Duties and how that works, and he's trying to get better just like all of us are. Insulting Jack personally, I just don't think is right, and that's just something that Proofy should say sorry for. I think he probably should apologize for, whether that's publicly or privately, to Jack. He definitely deserves it. Jack is a voice of the people, and I think there's a reason why everyone loves Jack. Everyone loves Courage, and that's because he gets energetic. He gets fired up about Call of Duty, and he loves Call of Duty for what it is. He loves the grind. He loves playing GBs. He loves watching professional Call of Duty, and I think the common Call of Duty competitive fan really appreciates that. And so like I said at the beginning, I want to offer up some potential solutions for what Proofy's talking about, for these issues that the pro players have with how the system currently is. And I also agree that it does kind of suck for pro players to have to play against these amateur guys and play in these crappy GBs just to get pro points in a system where they already are pro. You know, they're getting paid to play professional Call of Duty. So really both of these have to do with separating some part of the GBs or the 2Ks into amateur and pro statuses. So like say you separate the 2Ks into an amateur 2K and a pro 2K. This could potentially be sorted by career pro points or this season's pro points. I'm not exactly sure how the pro point distribution would work, whether or not the amateur and pro 2Ks would have the same amount of pro points, but potentially maybe the pro 2K has a little bit more pro points than the amateur 2K, but the amateur 2K is weighted pretty heavily towards the winners. So the winners get a ton of pro points, because if you're winning an amateur 2K, you're probably a really good Call of Duty player and deserve a chance to play against the pros. So then the other option, which I think I like a little bit better, is to actually separate the GB ladders. So, and this would be based off of maybe potentially career pro points. Say in your career you have 5,000 pro points, or maybe even less, maybe 3,000 pro points. And that would qualify you to play in the pro ladder. So you'd be able to, you know, play against a definitely higher level of competition, a more experienced pool of players. And then the amateur pro ladder would be anybody who has less than, say, 3,000 career pro points. And so in that situation, you're playing against guys who are less experienced, and you're still grinding, getting better, and earning pro points, but you're playing against guys who are just more around your skill level, and that might make a little bit more sense in that scenario. So at the end of the day, I think the whole Proofy Courage thing was really stupid, and that Proofy was really more whining than anything else. But there are some legitimate issues with the system right now, and it does suck for pro players and established guys who have to play against these no-namers who are going to go super try hard. I mean, I know for a fact that I would go insanely try hard if I'm coming up against a pro team in a GB like that. I'd pull out the sweatbands. I'd have every sweatband on that I have, man. I'd be injecting the G Fuel straight into my veins, man. I'd be squeezing out the whole bottle of Gamer Grip, and then probably I'd get a 100-point club. But, you know, it's what it is. You know, I'd be going hard to try to beat these guys. Nonetheless, guys, if you guys enjoyed this whole video about Courage and Proof and the whole debate and drama or whatnot, I'm feeling a little bit like Keemstar with this drama alert in the Call of Duty world. But nonetheless, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Share the video if you guys really enjoyed it, and share it if you guys think that these potential options with what MLG could do with pro points and separating them all out potentially could work. Share it if you guys really do think that's possible. But nonetheless, guys, as always, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out. Show you guys some of what I experienced. So let's get straight into the clip.
Maybe he can make this a 4v4, but the mortar comes in. He's able to connect with one, and he wins a gunfight there at the street tank. TK going huge, just 10 points away. You got one final